What's up guys, it's Red back again. I want to thank you guys for the overwhelming amount of replies for this series. There were a ton of suggestions on who to add, so I'm going to be picking and choosing from the comments. For this episode I went with 3 of the most requested characters from the comments section of the last episode, so if I didn't get to a character you wanted to see yet, make sure to keep posting them in the comments and I will get to them for sure sooner or later. So let's go ahead and kick things off with our first fighter. Skull Kid seems to be a character who is highly discussed these days. He's been a part of hundreds of fake leaks across the net and been a hot topic on Twitter and other social media platforms. Skull Kid appears to be a very polarizing character. Either people really want him in or they don't want him in at all. There's not much in between. I haven't seen many people indifferent about him. A key thing for Skull Kid is that oftentimes his actual popularity in the Smash Bros. Universe is a bit over exaggerated, and I say that as a giant Skull Kid fan. Skull Kid rarely does well on Japanese polling from what I've researched, oftentimes not even appearing in the top 15 or the top 20. That's not to say he doesn't have any fans at all. Skull Kid feels like he has a very niche group of die-hard fans, and with Lost 18 constantly posting and bringing the Skull Kid hype, I'd say he's been talked about quite a bit right now. And of course there is the popular chair theory as well, which I even made a video on back when the August Direct aired. However, being talked about right now doesn't mean much, at least for the base game. What's important is who was talked about during the Smash Ballot voting time and shortly after. Now, one thing Skull Kid has going for him in that regard is the Majoras Mask 3DS game that was released in early 2015. This would be extremely close to when Sakurai would be thinking about the Smash Ultimate roster, so Skull Kid would certainly be on his mind at the very least. The game also sold fairly well at 2.5 million copies worldwide, which adds another point in his favor. For comparison's sake, that is more sales than both the Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD releases on the Wii U. Also in 2016, Skull Kid was brought to the Hyrule Warrior Legends game, which was even able to give him a fleshed out moveset. And of course we all know that Skull Kid was an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. 4. So Skull Kid has recent appearances to be fresh in fans as well as Sakurai's mind. And with the newcomers so far giving a spotlight to the villains like Ridley and K. Rool, Skull Kid would definitely fit that mold. Also, Young Link's final Smash is the only Zelda characters who we haven't gotten a glimpse of yet. A popular theory is that if Skull Kid were to be in the game, Young Link would be featured in his reveal trailer and would be the perfect time to show off some of Young Link's moves and Young Link's final Smash. All things considered, I think Skull Kid might be met with a terrible fate come December 7th. I'm going to give him a 40% chance of getting into the base game. The main reason for this number is because of his niche fan base, as well as the fact that Sakurai may want to keep him as an assist trophy, or even convert him into a boss for what may be our new adventure type mode. Skull Kid has other options that Sakurai may utilize him for, and for that reason, I'm putting his DLC chances at only 20% because he may end up being in the base game as something non-playable, and that would certainly decrease his DLC chances. As far as want factor goes though, Skull Kid is an easy 100% for me. He's been one of my most wanted characters since Brawl, and I would love to see him finally make his Smash playable debut. Banjo and Kazooie have been highly requested for some time now. Making their debut back on the N64 in 1998, the Bird and Bear duo have remained on the minds of video game fans even 20 years later. Banjo and Kazooie have their history tied to Nintendo, which is something I'm sure Sakurai would consider. Even though Rare, the developers of the game, were bought out by Microsoft a long time ago, I don't think that is as much of a big deal now as it was during the Smash 4 era. Microsoft and Nintendo have had fairly cordial relations lately, between their constant memeing and mocking of Sony and even promoting cross-platform play between themselves and advertisements. It's easy to see that the two companies are getting along swimmingly at the moment. The only question is if this relationship was as smooth back in 2015 before development of Smash Ultimate. Well, back in 2015, Phil Spencer, Executive Vice President of Gaming at Microsoft, expressed a desire for Banjo and Kazooie to be playable for Smash 4. I'm going to take him at face value and assume he wasn't just saying that to play nice. So if Spencer was actually genuine, then I feel like it's a giant boost to Banjo and Kazooie's chances. And with the arrival of Ultimate, fans questioned Spencer once again for his thoughts on the matter, and he indicated that he still felt the same, albeit a bit more brief this time. Banjo and Kazooie have really solid moveset potential, and would be far different from a Duck Hunt Dog copy. They have the Nintendo history as well as popularity in order to be on Sakurai's radar. In fact, the whole data collected by Source Gaming during the ballot voting time suggests that they did extremely well globally, which again, while not concrete evidence, it's definitely something to add in their favor, if only by a small margin. With the details we have, I'm willing to take Phil Spencer at face value and give Banjo and Kazooie a 50% chance of being in the game. His support definitely gives them a solid chance because it wouldn't be hard to negotiate the fine print details. It would really come down to Sakurai and whether he personally wanted to include them, as well as their actual ballot placement. If not the base game though, I think they are incredibly strong contenders for DLC, and I would give them a 90% chance of being there. As for my personal want, I do have some nostalgic memories with the iconic duo from back in the N64 days, so I'm willing to say 50%. I think they would be really fun to see in action in the Smash universe. Rayman is in a similar position to Banjo and Kazooie. The company that owns him, Ubisoft, is now flaunting a positive and cheery friendship with Nintendo. Ubisoft has collaborated with Nintendo on Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which sold a lot better than I thought it would, and more recently with Starlink Battle for Atlas. Ubisoft CEO even went on to specify at E3 that the relationship between Nintendo and themselves is going strong, and that it will continue, and to expect new things in the future. And these two have proven that crossovers are a strong part of that relationship, with Rabbids being lent to Nintendo and Fox McCloud being lent to Ubisoft. That sounds very good for the likes of Rayman. Naturally, I'm sure Ubisoft would want one of their characters in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and really, Rayman is one of the only obvious standouts to fit that. He certainly would take precedence over the Rabbids themselves. Jade from Beyond Good and Evil doesn't have nearly the history and relevance that Rayman does, and things like Watch Dogs don't even make sense. Rayman just seems like the perfect fit. He would be a character that the development team would have no problem making a moveset for, as his games do a great job showing what the character can do fighting wise, and stylistically, he looks like he would have no problem blending in with the roster. But again, like Banjo and Kazooie, it will depend on how early this relationship was cemented. We know Ubisoft and Nintendo had worked together before, but now within the last year and a half, it's become bold and in your face. But it is key to remember that Rabbids Kingdom would have probably been in development all the way back in 2015, right around the Smash roster time. So it is almost certain that it was at least discussed. Again, this is something that will most likely come down to Sakurai. While Rayman has quite a buzz from time to time on select Smash forums, as far as Japan goes, I don't think he's anywhere on their radar as a third-party rep. And though Artsy Omni supplied him with a hype boost with his very impressive fake Rayman leak back during Smash 4, I don't think that was enough to boost his chances in terms of voting. Then there's also the recent addition of Rayman to Brawlhalla. Ubisoft bought the company that owns this popular platform fighter back in March of this year. Now many have said that Rayman's inclusion in Brawlhalla doesn't mean much in the Smash universe, and while I agree somewhat, I think it's more about the timing of the inclusion rather than the inclusion itself. They could have added Rayman at any time, but adding him so close to the release of the new Smash seems a bit wary for me. It's probably just my personal feeling, and it may not matter at all, but just something seems weird about it. With everything in mind, I'm going to give Rayman a 55% chance of being in the base roster, a little higher than the Banjo duo, mainly because of the timing of the development of the Rabbids Kingdom Battle game. That timing is just such an overlap with Smash that I think it had to be discussed in some facet. As for DLC chances, I have Rayman at 90% as well. Again, the bond with Ubisoft and Nintendo is only growing stronger it seems, so if Rayman didn't make it into the base game, it's almost a given he would be in for DLC. As for my personal one factor, Rayman comes in at 25%. I don't have the nostalgic connection with him that I do with Banjo, but I do recognize that he would be a cool character and would fit Smash in general. So that sums it up for this episode of Who's In. Again, I'm going to try to get to as many characters as I can in the comments. You guys left a ton of them, probably over 100. So stay tuned for who's going to be coming up next. Don't forget to watch some of my previous videos if you have time, and subscribe for more future content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.